tilt it up a little tiny bit. Do it while, oh yeah, sure, fall off the edge. So you can see me, my ugly mug. And I was just outside wearing my Tilly hat because Josh and I went on Pokemoning. It's Pokemon weekend, so we went over to the Battlefield Park where there's a lot of Poke gyms and or raids and or whatever. We caught a few legendaries. I just go there and I spin and catch. Josh is the expert. Anyway, so we had a good time and I just came back in. And right before I left to go catch some Pokies with my wonderful son, I finished this guy. This guy. Did you see this guy? Did I know this guy? 6931. The FX Star Patroller-ish. Whatever. Again. It is a nice set. Straight up. It's always been a nice set. I believe it's one of my friend Chris is one of his favorites. It's okay for me. It's nice and coincidental that I got both these sets in the same lot. I'm gonna tilt it down a little bit again so you can see. I don't think it needs to see me my ugly mug as much. They're comparable in many ways, and they're disparate in a few ways. They are both two-part ships. The cockpit comes off on both of them. I think I did this in my review. The Gamma 5 is slightly smaller. I think it's in the 6920 range, and the FX Star Patroller is in the 6930 range. So it's a bigger set. I don't know how many pieces. My laptop is right there, and my camera's sitting on top of it, so I'm not going to bother. Don't care. I did a review on both of them back in the day. So the one issue is that they didn't put a lot of effort into making sure or trying to do what they did in Blacktron, was to make these things mix and match. So this guy, there's a plate difference. And this guy, there's a plate difference, and this guy can't even get in there. So, so there is that issue, but that's not at all deal ending for me. That they didn't bother trying to make them compatible or swappable. I will say that these ships, these two specific ships, and nobody besides 5 people know about this. Or will remember this, if they even do remember this. My friends and I were going to make a science fiction movie back in the day, in our early 20s. And our friends were the supers of an apartment building, and they had a basement room that was empty, and we're going to make sets and film and do some model making of spaceships and stuff like that. It was called Arcturus. Arcturus, and the ship that I designed on paper but never bothered making out of whatever was based on this guy, and where the front and the back do come apart. The back's all engine and all whatever, and the front isn't. It was where everybody sits, and we were talking about it. It never got off the initial. I think I wrote a script, 15-20 pages of a skeleton of a script, and we all liked it, and we were going to go run with it, but we never finished it. Never even started filming. And I made Lego Wars, and people, my friends, were loving Lego Wars. Let's do a real one with real people and real sets and stuff. It never got off the ground, which is fine. I have no idea if I have any paperwork on it at all anymore, but that's irrelevant. So let's get back to this guy, the Reconstitution class. And of course, I made a 4-minute tangent before I even started talking about Reconstitution class video for this guy, 6931. There were a whole bunch of pieces missing. Unfortunately, yes. And of course, I did that one first, so there might have been less pieces missing had I done this one first. And then that one would have been missing a lot of pieces. And all but 3 pieces or 2 pieces I got from my collection. or four pieces. All but 4 pieces came from my collection with the right color. 4 pieces in here, including the trans red antennas I mentioned. I have run out of trans red antennas. There's a lot of trans red antennas on my layout, and I reconstituted a whole bunch of ships previous to this that take the trans red antenna, and therefore even here, but those came in this lot. They could have been these antennas, but I put them over there because I did that one first. Again, if I built this one first, it would have probably had less missing pieces, but then the rest of these would have had more missing pieces. So the trans red antenna, the 2x2 slope with the black grid. There's a gray one on this side that I had to get from my collection, but this one, I'm out of gray ones. Again, my collection, my personal collection has been, I've been reconstituting all these ships and sets that use these pieces, and therefore, and that particular 2x2 slope is ubiquitous in my layout. It's a control console in many buildings, and multiple control consoles in the same building. So I did have lots of them, but I used them up in my layout. So I put a white one here just to remind me that I have to replace it with a gray one. Also, the 8x8 wing plate that has the 4x4 notch, not the 3x4 notch, because I got these wing plates left over. These are all I have left over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 3x4 notch, and this is the 4x4 notch. So one came from the collection, the lot that I just got. I had to grab one from my collection, but that was the last one I had. C'est la vie. But other the 2 antennas, the 1 wing, and the 1 gray 2x2 slope with pattern on it. Everything else in this is correct. But again, I had to grab a lot of them, and I'm gonna say, I think it said 218 pieces. I can't remember now. It's closed now. I think I at least 50. So 1/4 of the pieces I had to get from my collection. Trans red, the gray radar dishes in the front. Some printed pieces, only one was in the lot, so I grabbed another one. None of these were in the lot left, so I had to grab them. These guys were in the lot. That was fantastic. One of these 1x2 slopes with whatever pattern on it was, I had to go grab another one. One of the 2x2 blue with the black stripes I had to grab. There's 2 of them in here. I had to grab one. That was in the lot, so that was cool. The 1x2 brick with arrow on the side, I had to get both from my collection, which is ubiquitous again. I have lots of those. I mean, the list was long of all the pieces. 1x2 gray plates. There was only like 3 left since I built those guys, so I had to grab. There's a whole bunch of 1x2 gray plates in here. I had to grab. A couple of the 2x3 inverted gray slopes, got those. These guys got those. These arms got those. The blue, trans blue was in the lot, so that's fantastic. Both trans blue, but the trans red, not in the lot. 3 of these 4 trans red pieces up here, I'd only had the 1 1x1 round brick with thruster pattern, so I'd grab that from my lot and then grab these 2 from my collection. About that specifically, I try, and I honestly do try. So if we look at this guy, not that guy, if we look at this guy, and we look at this guy, and if you look at the top, oh, this is me dropping it, they changed the mold. They actually did. So if you run your finger down on a cone brick, round cone brick, and your fingernail gets stuck after the stud, that's the new mold. If it's smooth and your fingernail doesn't get stuck, that's the old mold. They changed it, and again, I think it wasn't that long ago they changed it, but they did change it, and they changed it for technical reasons. The old cone did not have a stopping mechanism, so if you put it in here and you push hard enough, it would be like an arrow, and it would like break this piece. It would push it apart. Whereas if you have the one with the, let me just drop that on the floor. the one with the little ridge at the bottom or underneath the stud, it stops there. You can't push it anymore. So they did a lot of that for a while. They changed the macaroni brick. They put reinforcements in the macaroni brick. To this day, I don't understand why, but they said it was the right thing to do, and I'm not going to argue with them. They changed the cone brick, round cone brick. They changed a few pieces, and so what I tried to do when I'm reconstituting a ship of the 1970s, 1980s era, I tried to get the right cone, because this thing has lots of cones in it. It has 4 red, trans red, 2 trans yellow cones, and so I tried to see that's nice and smooth. It's not catching my finger. That one's nice and smooth, not catching my finger. The other piece I had to get, obviously, with the support, but not in the lot at all. That's fine, I got lots. The trans blue there, the 3x4 or 4x3 trans blue in the back was there. The robot, I had to grab a few pieces from my collection, including the tires for the vehicle. It is what it is. It did not have any of the wheel holders or the wheels. I had to get all 6 wheels and all 3 wheel holders. The 1x2 with handles were in the collection. The 1x1 blue cones, not in the collection or in the lot. This piece was in, I mentioned that at the beginning, this rocket pack was in the lot. And I was excited because it's not ultra rare, but it is rare enough that I only have maybe 7 or 8 of them. And I think they came in gray, blue, and I can't remember if they came in other colors. I'm sure somebody out there will remind me what other colors they came in, but that was there, but it did not have the lever, was not in the lot, was missing. The robot, I had to basically grab the hinge brick from my collection, 1 arm from my collection, 1x1 headlight brick from my collection, and the 2 trans yellow 1x1 plates, round plates, I had to grab from my collection. Sailovie, also the antenna, I had to grab from my collection. So a lot of pieces came from my collection. The 2x2 brick that has the same pattern as up here, the gray. So I only had 2 in the lot, so I had to get a 3rd one, and I made it white, so I know that's one I have to replace. It was a fun build. I will absolutely say that. It's always been a fun build, and this guy's always hard to park in here. Put that down. That comes down. Take the pieces off. A lot of printed bricks in this set. A lot of printed bricks. And cool printed bricks. The tile, 1x2 tile with arrows, the 2x2 tile with arrows, the 1x2 brick with arrows, another gray 1x2. They're so far gray tiles. And then of course the big white blue tiles, the same as up here. So it's an even number. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a nice even number of printed pieces. 1, 2, and then 1, 2. So that's and then 1, 2 here. The only odd number is the console that and the 1x2 console plate in here. So there are 2 odd numbers, but the rest are all you have enough. And then I mentioned the brick. And yeah, the 1x4 with blue white arrow, the 1x4 blue brick with yellow arrow. Of course, once pointing backwards always bothered me, but not to the point where I go shake my fist in the general direction of Lego. So yeah, that's the reconstitution of 4 sets from this lot. And overall, besides most of the pieces that were ubiquitous, or I have plenty of, so it didn't matter to me that I had to grab a lot from my lot to finish that, a lot from my collection to finish that guy. The hoses, yes, all 4 hoses came from my collection. So what? So I won't complain about that. I also will not at all tell you, because I do not have that information, how many of these I already have built. I think maybe just 1 that I did for the reviews that I built, maybe 2, And as I say, I can't build anymore because I don't have any more of those 8x8s with the 4x4 stud cutout. I do not have any more, and so there's no way I'm building another one of these. Now the printed pieces, again, I'm already out of the 2x2 slope in gray, but I do have an extra one of these that came in this lot, and I have a bunch more over there. So I'm going to figure out based on this what else I can build, because I got one of these left, a 1x2 plate or tile with arrow on it. I got 2 of these left, 2x2 slopes, and one of those left, but it has painting on the back. When I was building this, I didn't think I had a 1x1 trans yellow brick, so I just substituted a 1x1 trans yellow round brick, 2 of them. And then I went back into the lot, this lot, and I found I have one, and I don't have 2. And I probably have more in my own collection of 1x1 bricks in trans yellow, but my trans yellow bin is a disaster, and I'm not going to dig through it. I looked for maybe a minute and a half. I said, screw it, let's use round bricks for there. So right now there are 2 1x1 round trans yellow bricks in there instead of a square 1x1 trans yellow. This guy I may or may not build. I'm still debating. Other things, I got this blue door that I know came in A set somewhere, and I might look that up. I don't know. As for the rest, blue is basically now just basic brick and plates and wheel wells, which had nothing to do with plastic space. A couple of Technic beams, 1x10. A lot of shutters. So I know that these, this is going to go into bin of doom already. I know that this, and the bricks are faded, I mentioned that before, so I know that there was a couple of basic sets in this lot that were older than the space sets. So the blue is irrelevant now, so figuring out what you have. Gray, I was going to get all this stuff out of the way. Gray, I do have 1 and 2, and 1, I think I know that's from the beta 1. This is possibly from the beta 1. And this could be any, I can think of 3 or 4 sets that this came in. I got 1 thruster without axle hole and 1 thruster with axle hole. A few of those. This is back to beta 1. I think these were black in the beta 1. Don't quote me on that. It's been a while. Castle Beach, more of these, which did not come in the beta 1 that I remember. A bunch of those. A bunch of these that did come in the beta 1. And I'm not going to build the beta 1 because there are so many pieces missing. Like 90% of the pieces are missing for the beta 1, including the base plates, including the rails, including a bunch of parts. So I'm not going to bother building that, but I was thinking I should try to build something else, but I think that's from the beta 1. So but still cool pieces to have and cool pieces to roll into the collection. Classic space. What else do I got? So I talked about blue, I talked about gray. If we go into black, I got some 2x2 round bricks, some very minor 1x1 clips, not too much, some air horns / whatever, 1x1, 2x2 round plates, lots. I'm trying to rack my mind if those ever came into beta 1, and I think at least this one did. I know that, or was it white? I can't remember if it's black or white for the rocket engine on the side ship. But not too much else in here for building classic space sets. 2x2 radar dish. So black is not very helpful to ascertain what's going on. And white, as I say, I got all that. Now, this could be the beta 1, but I don't think so because it's got a solid stud. Now, I'm not, entirely sure when they migrated from solid stud to open stud, but I know all the original classic space sets, the 3 digits, were solid stud. And I know that after a fashion, the 4 digits were all open stud. So, and I don't remember, besides the rocket launcher and the Alpha 1 rocket base, which I don't think any of these pieces are. So there's that. Don't know what this is. But not too much else in here that has to do with classic base. A few headlight bricks, which could have been anything, really. This guy, which came in a bunch of sets, and I believe even in white for classic space. So white's not helpful to figure out what's going on. And what other colors were there? The rest of the colors are out there. Oh yeah, trans yellow, or the trans thing. So beta 1 for sure. These two, also beta 1. These two, that's it. Although when you look at that piece, that is exceptionally good condition, which I mentioned earlier in this lot. This one's not bad. It's not really scratched and it's not cracked at all. So maybe if I do Grant's polishing technique, which I will try to figure out someday, I will fix that up. This one, of course, they painted the edge, but I'm not throwing it in the bin of doom. I'll figure that out. And the rest in here is absolutely nothing. I got a 1x1 trans yellow plate, and the rest is all newer. Oh yeah, one trans green plate. I probably didn't see that before. So there ain't much left besides maybe 15% of the beta 1. The rest of it is all missing. I mean, I grabbed my blue. I had to grab this. This is my blue bin, or bin of blue printed bricks. Mostly classic space. I can build a beta 1 pretty easy by substituting or having. There we go. I use a lot of these. So a beta 1 is manageable to build, but I think I have 5. So I don't. And whatever that 1x6 is for, I think, yes, I still have a few of these left. I have a couple LL924s and some wing plates. I will say, off on this tangent right now, this has always been a nice piece. But anyway, I will say right now that my very good and dear friend Joseph, who never watches these videos, and that's okay, gave me a bag of parts. So he gave me a whole bunch of parts so I got about a dozen of these now. And the other parts that came in the new Galaxy Explorer. And I do plan on using those at some point. I just don't know what I'm going to do with them yet. And here's another one. And here's another one. So there's that. And what else is there? Still, one of my favorites of all time. I'm sad that they don't do it anymore. Legoland was awesome. There's something else in here I wanted to talk about, but it's not there. So irrelevant. Those go in there. I have a few of these, and I can guarantee, because I talked about it. Oops, let me get out of here. Close that. A few of those. I think I have. No, that's it. Oh, one more. So 3 of those, and I believe when I was doing all my Bricklink orders for the layout, that I would always check out other pieces, and I think these things came to me in a Bricklink order, not in a lot where I could have built another deep freeze defender. But I do have those, and I believe they only came in a deep freeze defender. So, and I mentioned when I talked about the deep freeze defender that I just built from the last lot, that I do not have enough pieces at all to take care of that. So I'm not gonna worry about that. The other thing is, whilst looking in my collection for all those printed bricks, I found, and I can't believe I didn't notice it before, because I mentioned this in my last video, or a couple of videos ago. I found one. I should look harder. so I think of a Bricklink order coming in for the replacement of the trans green, and I think that was part of it. And oh well, it's going to be fine, because I am actually replacing. That's very odd. Replacing this piece up here too. So my Alien Moonstalker, I can't remember what it's called. 6940. That doesn't sound right. That sounds like the Renegade. Whatever that set number is. I will have it complete pretty soon. I don't. So here's a tangent on set numbers. I remember set numbers a lot for key sets, and it's not that I don't think the other sets are worthy to remember. I just don't have the mind power or the memory to remember all the set numbers. I do know that this is set 6931 because I just looked it up. And I know the beta one is 6970, but I also forget the name of the 6971. Cosmic Base, I don't know, it doesn't matter. 6980 is a Cosmic Fleet Voyager, if I remember correctly. No, that's a 6985. Galaxy Commander is a 6980. The Uranium Search Vehicle is a 6927, I want to say. 6929 is Starfleet Voyager. I could be 100% wrong on all this, by the way. I'm just throwing out numbers. The original is Galaxy 4497/928. I'm gonna remember because the freaking numbers on the ship. The command center 926, 918, the one-seater space scooter, whatever I want to call it. It's the first classic space I said. The 6880, I always forget what the name is. The 6881 or the 6890, I forget the name, but I know that's my set. Those are the first few sets I got. Gamma 5, I could not tell you if you held $1 million in front of me right now and saying, what's the set number? Won't remember the Gamma 5. I know it's called the Gamma 5 or Gamma V. And this guy, the all-terrain vehicle, don't remember set number. It does that kind of minutiae. I love when other people know, and they have quizzes and they know that all the set numbers and the set names. And some of my friends can even tell you how many minifigs it came with. They can tell you what era it came in the classic space, blah blah blah. I admire that. It's not me. This is that's never been. I don't want to say it badly. I don't want to say this poorly. It's never been important to me for me to know set numbers and set names. I just happen to remember a few that I love, and I love them all. I just happen to remember a few that stick with me. And again, I could be wrong on a lot of it, and it doesn't matter. I am a huge classic space fan, but memorization is not part of my fandom for me. But again, I want to reiterate, those who look at my comment section. Oh, you have this set number. I want that. I want friends like that, because I think that's awesome. It's exactly the same for me as the fact that I mentioned this numerous times now. I absolutely do not have a Star Trek uniform in my closet. And that's not disparaging anybody who does. I admire people who do. That's their fandom. I've been a Trekkie since I was, and again, Trekkie, for me, they're interchangeable. I have no preference. I like to call myself a Trekkie some days, and I call myself a Trekker some other days. People have their huge, this is why it's a Trekker, and this is why it's a Trekkie. Yeah, you believe that, and I support you in your belief. When you say it, I will say Trekkie some days, and I'll say Trekker some other days. I'm a Star Trek fan. I've been a Star Trek fan since my earliest memories of my life. I've been a Star Trek fan. My earliest memories are watching Star Trek with my brother. And I have seen every single minute of publicly released film of Star Trek that I know of, unless something's hiding somewhere. I watched all of TOS a million times, every episode. TNG, lots. DS9, not as much. Voyager all the time, even done reruns now. Overall, I'll sit and watch a Voyager episode. And then Discovery and Lower Decks and Picard and Strange New Worlds. The animated series, loved it. I mean, it has every one of these. I love Star Trek. I was a voracious reader of books. I would go to Kohl's bookstore back when I was in high school and in my college days every month, because they would release a TNG book and a TOS book, and then when DS9 showed up, they would release a DS9 book every month. And so I had 450 Star Trek books and TNG books, and I stopped buying them. I had too many of them. I took them all to Valley Village years ago, and I stopped buying when Voyager started having their own books. And I said, I'm done. I'm out. I don't have time anymore to read all these books. Kind of regret that, but I read a lot of books, Star Trek. I read a lot of magazines. I read a lot of reports, a lot of news articles, and everything I could possibly find. I go down to Silver Snail in the Hamilton and grab those prints of Star Trek 3 that were the size of placemats, that were absolutely gorgeous prints from the film. And there's like 12 of them in that plastic wrap. And the Enterprise going into the space station, and Kirk and crew and blah blah. I have somewhere in this house the Starfleet technical manual and the blueprints from 1973. I think I showed them once. I love that, and that's so when I get passionate about Star Trek, it's what I want to be passionate about. And yet, on top of which, other people are passionate about Star Trek in their way, and I'm right there with them for their passion. And they want to have uniforms, they want to dress up, they want to do cosplay. I am 100% on board, and if they need help, I'm absolutely 100% there. So that rolls back to the Lego. I do Lego my way. It's kind of a given. I do Lego my way, and other people can do Lego their way. And this is why I purposely removed myself from a group. There was nothing specifically wrong with the group that I removed. So I won't name the group that I removed myself from, but I removed myself from a Lego group that I was part of for a very, very long time. Because for me, and I understand this, because again, when you're in a volunteer organization or any kind of organization whatsoever, the people who run it have specific policies, and those policies are there for and updated and enforced by the people who quote unquote own the group. And there is nothing wrong with the policies in general. For me, I have a dislike of limiting other people's ideas and ideals, but it's not my group. It's not my group. So I'm not disparaging the group itself or the admins of the group or the persons who created the group. But I am personally uncomfortable being in that group because I don't like limitations put on people. And I understand why they created a group the way they did, and it's exactly what they want, and it's exactly what other people want, and that's perfect. As for me, I am, no, it's not for me. And so I removed myself from that group. And that's fine, because I'm part of dozens, absolutely dozens of classic space groups right now on Facebook. And I love them all, and the monorail groups and all this other groups, and it's what it is. And so if you need updates of what I'm doing, my YouTube channel. But if I'm posting pictures, I will post to my personal Facebook, which anybody out there can be, request my friendship and just let me know that you're my friend here on YouTube and that you want my friendship on Facebook. Want to be friends, but I do not block people unless they're spamming or harassing, or just a random, hey, friend. I get a friend request at least once a week from somebody, and this is my response to every friend request that I get from a person I do not know, and now even from people I do know, because people are getting spoofed and spammed and whatever. Hi, my name's Dave. I'd love to accept your friendship, your friend request on Facebook, but I've been inundated with spammers and hackers. So, do we know each other? Do we have mutual interest? Why are you interested in being my friend? And Dave, I saw your post on whatever news group, Facebook group, Classic Space, whatever, and perfect, friend. That's all you have to say. And again, I'm also not one of those people, which also made me very, very uncomfortable, which is why I left the group. I'm also not one of those people who will post to stay in the group. When the demand from the admins say, in order for this group to thrive, the point is that everybody who joins the group must post something at least once a month. I make tons of videos. I really do. Sometimes it's like day 2 and I've already got 6 videos, and you'll see this dropped on Thursday or something like that. And today's only Sunday. Sometimes I sit down here and I'm 100% time. Hey, how's it going? And then like 3 weeks ago, I got busy and I'm not posting any videos. And I don't want to worry in my head, I gotta go do something to appease somebody else to stay in a group. You don't have to appease me. You don't have to appease me at all. If you go, have a nice life. If you think about it 6 months from now, you want to come back and see what's going on, I'm still going to be here. But I'm not going to be constantly begging for people to stay. And I'm not going to be constantly saying, you guys have to post comments or, like liaise or whatever in order for me to be happy. No, and again, those who do say that, I get the issue, because a lot of news groups, or I keep on calling them news groups, a lot of Facebook forums will die quickly if you don't have people constantly updating stuff. And so making those policies are valid and sound, 100% valid and sound. So in a general sense, there's nothing wrong with the policy. For me and how I conduct my life, it's a problem, because I do not like to be told I have to do something in order to remain, relevant in any condition. So I'm I won't say an anarchist in this regard. I don't like the authoritarian stance that you must do something in order to, and especially if that something is not. And only if that something is not debilitating. Like if you belong to a group, and I already going on too far about this. If you're in a group that says we don't tolerate swearing and or obscene or vulgar posts, perfect, because there could be kids involved. There could be a myriad of reasons why the admins and owner of that group don't want that kind of stuff in their group, and I 100% support that. And so when I'm in that group, it's not hard for me not to post that kind of crap. So, but if I'm in other groups that does post that kind of crap, and I have been in other groups that are they swear a lot, and they you are freaking, and nobody else has a problem with it. I gotta go. We'll talk more. See you. Bye.